where the sun is shining, but there is some sadness, no doubt about it. Learning that the Twins' ace pitcher, as you've been hearing all day here on WCCO Radio, Pablo López, who was slated to be the starting pitcher for the Minnesota Twins on opening day. He is the heartbeat in many ways of this operation, the thinker, the poet of the clubhouse and the locker room. Finding out on the very first day of spring training, that feeling that only an elite athlete knows, that the pitch he had just thrown, something went wrong in his pitching arm. An MRI, an emergency MRI, in the news today, not good. We have reaction. We have a conversation with Pablo López. We have reaction from the general manager of the Twins, Jeremy Zoll. Let's start with Pablo López himself talking about, and this is the heartbreaking thing, right? Like, he's going to likely have surgery. He's going to go through rehab. But you think about this as a fellow human being, where not only are you worried about the medical side of this, worried about your future, but you're also worried about letting people down. Here's Pablo López talking about that just a couple hours ago here at spring training in Florida.
And that's another thing to navigate. I already feel that I'm leaving a lot of people down. Leaving myself down, leaving the Twins down. Letting people, letting me down, letting the Twins down, letting my family down. But also, I was already pretty committed to Team Venezuela. I was already committed to the WBC and all that. So there's that element of now also I'm not gonna be able to do that. But it just adds another element that I'm just navigating internally of, feeling disappointed, frustrated, and powerless at the time.
Boy, listen to that. Feeling disappointed, frustrated, and powerless. And Dan, you were there as well, as we were talking with Pablo right around noon today. And hearing that is just,
Yeah, you get it, right? Because, obviously this isn't his fault. This isn't anything that he's done wrong. And yet you totally understand on a human element why he feels like he's letting people down, his family, the Twins, the Team Venezuela. You get it, even though and he knows that this isn't his fault. This isn't anything that he's done wrong. One of the things that I found really interesting in what we were hearing about this today is that Tommy John surgeries come kind of with a shelf life.
yes.
That, he had been told 12 years ago when he had this surgery that come year 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there, this new ligament that was in his elbow may wear out. And he thought when he got past those years, he thought, well, maybe I'm just the exception and, everything's going to be fine. And, here we are now in year 12 and whoops, there it went.
Yeah.
So this isn't a shocking thing. And we've heard from plenty of other people before that plenty of guys have gone through multiple Tommy John surgeries in the past. Some of them come back and are great. Some of them, struggle with it. But there is a track record at this point of these things wearing out. So this isn't an enormous surprise. It is just very disappointing.
Yeah. It still feels like an enormous surprise, right? Medically that there's likely to be some sort of shelf life, as you said. And Pablo noted that his gratitude, the fact that there was an emergency MRI done on President's Day, it was a holiday, but that he didn't want to have a sleepless night of not knowing. Was it a small tear? Was it a total tear? Was it something you could work through or something that needed to be repaired? And he did get those answers last night and told us that he's been doing a lot of research. These elite athletes are just like us. When they get a diagnosis, they also go to Google.
To Dr. Google.
Dr. Google has the answers. We also did get a chance to talk with the general manager of the Minnesota Twins, Jeremy Zoll, who talked a little bit about what this is going to mean to the team and what this meant coming literally hours after the very first time that the new manager, Derek Shelton, the new owner's representative, Tom Pohlad, spoke in front of the entire team. Here's Jeremy. It's tough, man. Just such good vibes at the start to have this right off in the third inning of pitching.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever a good day, for news like this to come out. Obviously, feels particularly unfortunate where, day one of camp, feel like we had really good momentum in the morning with, Tom's speech and Shelty's speech and how pitchers and catchers went last week. So, that's definitely disappointing. And we know injuries are part of the game. You're always trying to get through spring training as healthy as possible, and definitely a blow. But We're going to just do the best we can to push forward, and still a lot of talent in that room that can take a step forward, and we really believe in that group.
Twins fans, how worried does this make you about this season? Give me a number 1 to 10. 1 meaning not worried about it. Pablo was injured a lot of last year, and we're going to be all right. 10 meaning we're at full-on freak-out mode. 651-461-9226. 1 to 10, how worried are you about the Minnesota Twins with this news about Pablo Lopez? And it feels like a good time to bring in our friend Dan Hayes, who writes about the Twins at The Athletic. He joins us every Friday on Drive Time with DeRusha. He's with us at spring training. And Dan, I got to tell you, it absolutely, to me, feels like the air has been let out of the room of the day one enthusiasm with this news. Am I overreacting?
No, I mean, look, it really resonated. Derek Shelton, and then to have Pablo yesterday, even everybody had been really talking about how inspired they were by the messages going from Shelton, from Tom Pollard, players. Like, it really resonated. And then to have Pablo Lopez walk off the field with elbow soreness yesterday, it felt like the air had been let out of the room. I mean, we were talking to Derek Shelton, and it was like, what else do we ask about at this point? You know, here you guys are. You're talking about how fired up you are not 2 hours ago, and then all of a sudden you're facing a significant injury like this. So to get that news today, to get the fact that Pablo Lopez could be out for the season seems pretty likely.
I mean, let's be real. He's out for the season, right?
Yeah. Look, when he
said as much.
Yeah. When I think I asked how much is surgery in your mind, and he said it's the reasonable option. He's hoping for a miracle. They're hoping for a miracle. But the chances of that really happening, I mean, that's why we're saying miracle. It's very, very limited. Losing this guy, we saw what the team was like without him last year for 3 months. It was a huge blow. We know what he means in leadership, through example, but just through ability, it's a big loss.
And he's been active in it too, as far as some of the relationships with the new owners rep, with the new manager, with lots of young guys. Like, so just the reality is when somebody's out for the season, they're rehabbing. They're not hanging out with the club at all.
I mean, right. And Derek Shelton did say he wants him around the team as much as possible, that he'll be with the club, but he doesn't get a chance to have the impact of being in the bullpen sessions, right? Yeah. He can go watch other guys throw bullpen sessions, do that kind of stuff, but you feel disconnected. He talked about it last year, feeling disconnected. He had 3 months off with that teres major grade 2 strain, so he understands what, and he's had Tommy John before, so it's tough.
Do people come back from 2? I mean, I don't want to get too doomsday.
It's definitely happened.
Yeah.
That's
at his phase of his career.
No, I mean, look, we're talking about probably a top 1%er as far as athletes go. Yeah. Work ethic. This guy knows it, and he knows what to look for is going through the process, the rehab process. And he said, look, it really comes down to how much you work. So I think that he will be as in good of a position as anybody, and there's success stories already of guys who have come back from 2 Tommy Johns out there, so it's not like uncharted territory.
Dan Hayes is with us. I mean, you look at the guy and you're like, this may be the most in shape human being I've ever seen.
He definitely takes after me.
Clearly, yeah, similar.
I mean, he's a workout king, and I think that's one part that will get lost here is that he had talked about at Twins Fest embracing being a leader for the young guys. He doesn't have to do it with voice. He knows how to do it with example. You can't watch him get ready for a start and not pick up a ton of stuff. And that would have been 32 times for guys to see that. They won't see that most likely this year. It's definitely a huge loss.
I know there's a sense that starting pitching was where the depth was with this team. But the reality is, like, Pablo Lopez is on another level.
I mean, he's their ace, and Joe Ryan can actually fill that. That's Joe Ryan can be that role. It's then who fills in behind them. And look, the talent is there. There's no question. Zebby Matthews has shown some really good flashes. This is a guy that flew through the system 2 years ago and looked great at times last year and looked terrible at times last year. But he has that great in him. Mick Abel throws hard. I think Derek Shelton brought it up today during his live BP. He threw a sinker on the first pitch, 98.9 to Byron Buxton in. Byron Buxton didn't look too happy with it. Like Mick Abel has the talent, Taj Bradley, Simeon Woods Richardson. There's a lot of options here,
but guys have to perform. I mean,
guys have to step up. But that's everywhere across the board for this team. That's Brooks Lee at shortstop. That's Royce Lewis. There are so many young guys with a lot of talent that have to hit, and that is a big deal.